just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just a good old boy, they wouldn't change if they could. Fighting the system like a true modern-day Robin Hood.
Chess returning to Broadway in the autumn and Evita about to open to packed houses at the Palladium, Philology celebrates the highly acclaimed lyricist Sir Tim Rice. For fellow fans of the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar and Tony award-winning lyricist, I've hidden some of his lyrics in this script. Please comment if you spot any. A normally self-depreciating Sir Tim described audience reaction to the English National Opera revival of his musical Chess as phenomenal, following some very depressing reviews. Rice, once the golden boy of the West End musical, was on an all-time high as packed houses at the Coliseum enthusiastically rose to their feet in a spontaneous ovation in appreciation of this well-researched and fascinating yarn. The critics weren't too polite about Chess the first time around either, with the Sunday Times describing the plot as improbable and shallow, as if a genre of theatre involving harmonising, reprising and dancing has ever been probable. Rice is still associated with his phenomenally successful collaboration with Andrew Lloyd Webber dating back to the 60s and 70s. Together they created some of the most loved and frequently performed pieces of theatre of all time, Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Evita. The Ken Wright tour of Joseph has been on the road for decades and shows no sign of slowing down, selling out wherever it goes with theatres squeezing in unscheduled matinees to cash in on its enduring popularity. It's a fun show, the most playful Sir Tim and Lord Lloyd Webber have been in their musical careers. Joseph has inspired generations of kids to become West End performers and has ignited audiences with a lifelong love of theatre. His musicals are, however, more than just accessible and popular pieces of mainstream entertainment. They are innovative and groundbreaking pieces of theatre. Rice's second career working for Disney and his most recent musical, The Incredible From Here to Eternity, 2013, show that his talents, like his popularity, are far from waning. Arguably, his success and popularity are partly due to his passions being focused on the cricket pitch and not the West End stage, and that may be why his works are popular with people who are not part of the usual theatre-going public. There was a sense that he was coming out of retirement to promote From Here to Eternity, and he gave the impression that it was the quality of Stuart Brayson's score, rather than his need to stage another hit, that attracted him to the project. A wealthy man, popular raconteur, and with enough grandchildren to stage a family production of The Sound of Music, Sir Tim seemed happy to fade into the crowds at Lord's after his work on the incredible Eternity was finished. But then the ENO decided to revive Chess. There was a time in the 80s when if you couldn't find your house keys, someone would write a West End musical about it. It started with Time, and by the time Brian Blessed and Adam Faith took to the stage in Metropolis and Budgie the Musicals respectively, the genre was beginning to lack not just originality, but also audiences and any chance of a return on investment. Chess is possibly tarred with that brush, with visions of Elaine Page's and Barbara Dixon's back-combed, bouffant big hair, and with the name Chess. After a 30-year absence, it was revived by the ENO in a spectacular return to the West End, proving that it hasn't been damned for all time. As one of its composers, Benny from ABBA, said on the Andrew Marr Show, no one wants to see a musical about chess. It's a good job they didn't actually write a musical about chess. They just happened to call it Chess. The creative team have often claimed that the musical uses chess as a metaphor for the Cold War. But fortunately, they didn't do that either, because no one wants to see a musical metaphor for the Cold War. Or perhaps the Russians do, as they gave the 2020 Moscow premiere a 20-minute standing ovation. Maybe Sir Tim's fondness for the show is not as he believes because of its great score, but because he has accidentally written something deeply personal. Chess isn't a metaphor for the Cold War. The Cold War is a metaphor for Sir Tim's personal life at the time. Indeed, chess covers ground they sang and danced around in Superstar and Joseph Love, Loyalty and Betrayal. In Superstar, Rice concentrated on Jesus and Judas and how their entourage manipulated and used them to bring about each other's destruction. In chess, Rice presents us with an American and a Russian chess champion being coerced in similar ways. He gave each of those four main male characters a close every door to me moment, a show-stopping audience rousing number in which they soliloquized on the pressures of being who they are. Prewitt also had something to say on the subject in From Here to Eternity. It may be a coincidence, but there seems a common theme of loneliness from I'm where I want to be and who I want to be and doing what I always said I would, and yet I feel I haven't won at all. Chess, to a man's on his own, whatever illusion applied, a man's on his own till he dies. Eternity. Jesus came to similar conclusions in Gethsemane. Pity the Child in Chess is an anthem for any complex man trying to work out how he has grown into a tortured and angry misfit. We can blame our parents, apparently. In fact, you can swap these songs between his musicals. Jesus can sing Who Needs a Dream? Prewitt can have Close Every Door to Me and Freddie Fight the Fight. It's best to let Eva Peron keep Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. I Know Him So Well, Chess, and Could We Start Again, Please, Superstar can be swapped. Maybe Mary and Judas could duet I Know Him So Well to end Act 1 of Superstar. If, in retelling the stories of the coat of many colours and the last 7 days of Christ, Sir Tim Rice might have unintentionally strayed into autobiography, chess gave even greater opportunities for his subconscious to put the modest lyricist centre stage. This Frankenstein monster of a show's strength is also its Achilles heel. It's a strange thing mystifying, but unlike anything else he has written, Chess, its plots and characters are a whole new world of the lyricist's creation. It's not a musical based on a biblical story, an Argentine dictator's wife, or a classic American novel film. Just about every musical is based on a story the audience are already familiar with, either because it covers real events or is adapted from an existing book film. The audience have a pretty good idea of the plot and characters. Les Mis, Hamilton, Matilda, Betty Blue Eyes, The Jersey Boys, Kiss Me Kate, Mrs. Doubtfire, Back to the Future, Tina, The Bodyguard, Pretty Woman, Piaf, Sunset Boulevard, the aforementioned Budgie and Metropolis, Phantom of the Opera, Spend, 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 Sweeney Todd. But Chess is different. It is not based on a pre-existing story. Chess is Tim's creation, and for some reason this has opened the floodgates to different productions, tinkering, cutting and rearranging the plot and characters and songs. Chess originated as an album, released in 1984. Songs were added, deleted and rewritten before the West End opening in 1986. Further songs, rather odd rewrites and plot changes took place before it opened on Broadway. 3 versions of Chess existed, the album, the West End and the Broadway versions. And through these numerous other versions, a pick and mix Frankenstein monster based on bits from each, the original opera took similar liberties. As brilliant as the production was, its tinkering with Act 2 was pointless, shockingly executed, and achieved nothing. A small change from We've Got Your Wife on the video to We've Got Your Wife in the studio changed the romantic lead from a tortured, manipulated genius into a callous and heartless, unsympathetic, selfish womanizer. My favourite scene in which the bad guy tells the good guy how to win, a dramatic, Cain and Abel beautiful moment of bitter opponents connecting as kindred souls in a heartless world where no one understands them, was inexplicably cut. It gave the character of Freddie redemption and narrative closure. It made him a rounded character and proved that nothing was simply black and white. 2 men, bitter rivals from opposite ideologies, united together by their love of chess. Just for a few seconds. Great drama. Cut! It's like cutting to be or not to be out of Hamlet to shave a couple of minutes off the running time. I need to get a grip, as that scene says. Sit Tim expressed double frustration with the way the musical has been adapted. The piece has been altered and generally mucked around with in so many different ways. Songs added, songs discarded. Plot drastically changed. Spoken dialogue introduced. Not just the odd line, but often what seemed like an entire play. Characters renamed or created from scratch. Others mysteriously disappearing. The times and places of the story adjusted. even sometimes a different winner of the final climactic chess match. From Get Onto My Cloud, the Tim Rice podcast. From Russia with Chess, the 10th of January 2022. All things considered, Sir Tim needs to establish a definitive version, if he can, but he still thinks he's written a metaphor for the Cold War. But I Know Him So Well wouldn't fit into a Cold War metaphor, unless, of course, Cold War was a way of defining his personal life at the time of writing Chess. Evita made a star of Elaine Page. As Chess was to replace Evita at the Prince Edward Theatre, it made sense to use her bankability as the top West End star. And then there was their closeness. If Tim Rice hadn't written I Know Him So Well, Page and Jane Rice would have. As a single, it was a successful no-one love song. On stage, it is a powerful moment. Two rivals in love, both in losing corners of a love triangle, come face to face. Instead of fighting, they harmonise. If writing is a way of capitalising on personal angst, Tim Rice was certainly drawing on experience. Maybe Catharsis would be a better title for the musical. No wonder he found the reviews depressing. Chess is a more personal piece than he wants us to think. Ironically, he even added a song for Broadway, Someone Else's Story. Yeah, Tim, we believe you. And he's not done yet. The 80s Broadway production had its problems and was buried by some savage reviews. Quite rightly, he wants to make another move, and I, for one, can't wait to see it in New York later this year. Hopefully this will fix the definitive version of Chess for Eternity. Speaking of which, he's been honing the brilliant From Here to Eternity. The musical ends with an emotional tribute to the GIs killed in the attack on Pearl Harbor. It also deserves a Broadway audience. Last year, he was busy remastering Jesus Christ Superstar for the show's 50th anniversary, and recently has been touring the UK sharing My Life in Musicals. Evita is about to open at the Palladium, and it's destined to be a sellout success. Tim has also been collaborating with Andrew Lloyd Webber again, contributing songs for a Sherlock Holmes comedy, their first new show in 45 years. There doesn't seem to be much chance of Tim quietly withdrawing to the Compton stand at Lord's this summer, but he can take comfort in proving Byron wrong when he said, "Life is too short for chess."
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the